Build for today is going to be 3 sets of 4 different movements. So your first movement is going to be a crush grip bicep curl. So slow and controlled, making sure elbows are stuck into your side. So if Jack comes side on a little bit. What I don't want to see is kind of elbows coming back in towards you where you're almost swinging back and forward. You want to be crunching down, really slow and controlled. Try not to pause at the bottom or at the top, so keep constant tension. 12 reps. Next one, if you come on the umbrella, or spin around a little bit. What a fucking good demo this, that is. Chainsaw row. So this will be a slightly different variation of a bent over row. What I'm looking for is to come nice and low, torso facing the floor, Jack's on his forearm in that staggered stance. Difference between this and a normal bent over row is we're really trying to get that rotation at the top, where you see Jack's opening up, pulling his hand low towards his hip, and he's really thinking about squeezing the lat at the top. So rather than staying face over and just having a shorter range of motion here into your chest, you're thinking about really rotating and squeezing, elbow as high as you can, fist all the way into my hip. 12 on each side of the chainsaw row. Next one's going to be a bent over row in that crush grip. So same grip as we did for the bicep curl. Make sure really flat back. You're doing a pause at the top for a second, squeezing elbows as high as you can, pull that dumbbell into you, slowly back down again, 12 reps. Last one is going to be a half kneeling curl. So up onto one knee, one foot. Jack's going to go one hand slightly over the other one, and he's going to curl up to the top. Same again, try and keep it nice, slow and controlled. Try not to have a big rest at the bottom. You're going to do 6 reps, and then when you swap over like Jack did then, I want you to swap legs over and also switch which hand's on top, because you might find the one on the top is maybe taking a little bit more of the weight. So make sure you do 6, swap over feet, swap over hands. 3 total sets. Just making sure that was 3. 2 minutes rest in between. Part B, 4 sets. You are going to do max reps. So an AMRAP of feet elevated, push-ups, hands on your dumbbell. So we're thinking obviously quite narrow grip, feet elevated to make that push-up harder. Make sure you're squeezing in, elbows are staying tucked in. You want to go all the way down so your chest or your hands come into contact, so it's a full range of motion, lockout at the top. Make sure you keep a very slight hollow position when you're doing those push-ups, if Jack shows us. So really good body position, squeezing his core. And you will maybe find, obviously, your head's going lower than your feet. That's fine. So it is almost like an incline press. What I don't want is if Jack does a bad rep where he lets his hips sag and he's really arching his back and putting a lot of pressure through there. So max reps, that doesn't mean until your face hits the floor and you die. That means you go until you can't keep a really good, steady pace and you're maybe one-off failure, so you're not going to collapse onto the floor. Crush grip floor press, straight onto it, max reps again. Jack comes down till either the dumbbell touches his chest or his elbows touch the floor. Make sure this is slow and controlled. Squeeze your hands together so you really activate your chest well. Again, it's max reps. On this, you should be able to really burn out until you literally can't press that dumbbell off your chest. Max reps are both 2 minutes rest in between 4 sets. Part C is 3 sets of max reps for this little complex that Lewis has come up with. So it is a front raise, pull into my chest, press overhead, back down, out into front raise, lower back down again. So really important with this is that you keep that strict form. I would have a very slight bend in your elbows, up, pull into your chest, and then it's a normal strict press all the way overhead, lock out, back down again. This is massively going to depend on what weight you took home. If your weight is too heavy to at least do, I would say, 5 good reps on this, then you might want to change that front raise into an upright row. Make sure it is an upright row, it shouldn't be a curl. So you're thinking about pulling elbows as high as you can, a little bit like a hang clean or a muscle hang clean, and then you're pressing overhead, like so. If you can do the eccentric phase and come back out and lower down, that would still be a good way of getting the shoulder in. If you can't, you can just come straight back down again. But really try and give this a go. Obviously, to make it easier, the more you bend your elbows on that front raise, it should make it slightly easier. But make sure it's controlled. You don't want to be swinging your hips. You shouldn't be using your legs on the press, anything like that. Max reps, really you should be aiming maybe 8 to 15 in that rep range. If you can do more, that's awesome. 3 sets, 1 minute rest in between. So part D, Lewis's favourite part is going to be a curl and a press overhead. You're doing max reps. Most important thing on this for that curl, keep your elbow where it is. This should be a hang clean where you're shrugging and coming underneath. It should be a really concentrated curl, so let that dumbbell come away from you like Jack's doing now on the eccentric and the concentric. So curl into press, you're doing max reps. Start with your weaker arm, you're then going to match it on your better arm, and you're going to keep going back and forward with no rest until you've completed 3 sets on both sides. So obviously it'll be 6 total sets by the time you've done both.